So in this video, I want to explain a huge mistake that a lot of music producers make, and I know this mistake because I've done it myself, and I think just about everybody who starts out in their music career will also make this mistake. So if I can help you avoid this and overcome this before it becomes too big of an issue, then you will just speed up your process faster, and that's what I want to help you with. So a big thing that we struggle with is marketing, right? And the big thing with marketing is you need to know who you're going after. This is your target market. A lot of times producers want to stay broad because they want to appease everybody. They don't want to leave anyone out. So they say things like, I can produce pop, I can produce trap, I can produce polka, I can produce trap polka. And so they just leave everything wide open. Well, I want to explain something to you. If you had a leak in your roof, would you trust someone who specializes in roof, a roofer, a roofing company? Would you trust them to fix the leak in your roof? Or would you call a handyman who says that he can do anything? He fixes pipes, he mows the lawn, he brings your mail, he fixes your roof. Would you trust that guy as much as if you were to trust somebody who specializes in roofing? The person who wants the best results are probably going to invest in the person who specializes in roofs, right? The people who invest in a handyman are usually the people that, I'm not saying anything bad about handyman, but I'm just saying, like, if you had a hole in your roof, it's a pretty big deal. If it rains, it's gonna get your entire house wet, right? Would you hire a handyman to do that? The only people who would do that are people who are trying to save money. And people who are trying to save money are always really difficult to deal with. And I'm not saying this to put anybody down. That's just the way it is. Because if you're fixated, your mindset is set on how can I save the most money, you're not using that energy to think about how can I get the best result and how can I fix this problem for good, right? And so it's just two completely different mindsets that you're working against. So you got to think about, who do you want to serve? Who do you want to work with? Do you want to work with the person who's just trying to get the best deal? Because I guarantee you, if you're going after that person, they're always going to be negotiating. They're always going to be haggling. They're not going to see the worth in what you do. They're just trying to get the best cost, the most cost-efficient solution. If you want to help people who seek out the best results, obviously you want to specialize and you want to niche down. When you're starting out in your music production career, niching down is always the best because you can always go very specific, but then you can always broaden and expand later as your business grows. It's like, okay, I do just trap now, but I then later figure out that, there's actually a lot of boom bap rappers that want my help, so you can expand then. And then, I'm gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people are liking my music, they're liking my beats, so pop artists want to work with me, but I'm not offering that yet. Well, you can continuously expand later, but when you're starting out, the best place is to niche down so that you speak to a particular group of people. The more specific that you can get to that group of people, the louder your message becomes. Because if you try to speak to everybody, that's the quickest way to become invisible, right? If you say, I make beats for artists. Cool, like who? Like Celine Dion type artists? Or like rapper type artists? Or like what kind of artists? You know what I mean? And if you just say that and you put that in your marketing and you aren't there to speak to the person to back it up, they're not going to know what you offer. They're just going to skim right over it and be like, cool, he makes beats for artists. That's great. I'm an artist, but also is a million other people. But the closer you think about like what type of person this is, what their behaviors are like, what are their interests, you can start to speak to them louder. Here's this circle. The closer that we get to this target, the louder your message becomes, the more strong it becomes, and the more personalized it is to that certain group of people. So let's just say the very outside is, hey, I target males. Very not specific at all, right? But it is a detail that you need to include in there. Like, do you feel like you can speak to males more or you can speak to female more, right? Do you work better with male artists, female artists? And again, you can always expand later. Let's say female artists start hitting you up. Cool, expand. But when it comes to the beginning of your business, you need to speak loudly to one group of people, whether it be gender or not. I'm just using this as an example. But let's say you speak to male rappers, right, who have a West Coast style. You see how we're slowly bridging in and we're getting closer? So male rappers who have a West Coast style that work in tech, right? They're maybe striving to be entrepreneurs, but right now they work in tech. They make 70, 80K a year. So they have the money to spend on what they truly want to do, and they want to go into entrepreneurship because they're somebody who is willing to take risk and isn't so risk adverse. So now you understand that you're going after somebody who is a male rapper that lives in the West Coast, has money because they work in tech, and they don't want to work in tech anymore. They want to go into entrepreneurship. So that means that they're more likely to take risk and invest in the things that truly matter to them. Do you see how much stronger this message is when you go out and you say, hey, I make West Coast beats for male rappers who, live in California, that work in tech, Silicon Valley, but wants to be an entrepreneur. If I'm saying I'm looking for an Asian American rapper who lives in California, who has a day job but is sick of it and wants to get out of it and make this a career, do you see how much more specific that is than if I were to say I make rappers beats? I make beats for rappers. I make trap beats. That's what everybody says, which is why everybody gets grouped into the sea of people that just has a bunch of noise and everyone's trying to crawl out, right? Everyone's trying to be the loudest, but they're saying the same thing. For you to be the loudest and to stand out, you need to niche down and you need to get specific on who it is you're going after before you start expanding and serving the general public. Because if you can't serve a small group of people, what makes you think you're going to be able to serve a giant group of people? So you need to start narrow and you need to widen as you go. And trust me, when you know all these specifics and you have this kind of clarity on who your target market is, everything becomes clear. Every messaging in your marketing becomes geared towards them. All the Facebook ad targeting becomes geared towards them. All your Google ads, everything becomes geared towards them. So do not skip this. You need to make sure you know exactly who you're going after. If you do dance hall music, you need to narrow down to there. If your strength is in pop music, you need to narrow down there. Is it a female pop singer? Is it someone who lives on the West Coast, the East Coast, in the UK? Like, what is it? Because the more specific you get, the stronger your messaging becomes, and your messaging is everything in your marketing. And so get this really clear, get this really dialed in, know exactly who you're going after, and I guarantee you're going to start selling a lot more music than the rest of the people who are just going after everybody. And like I said, there's a huge misconception around, hey, if I just stay broad and I just help everybody, then a lot more people are going to come in. But that's not true because you're not speaking to anybody in particular. This is the quickest way to become invisible. If you say, hey, I work with artists, I make beats for artists. Like, look at me. No one's going to want to work with you. They're looking for somebody who specializes in what they do. And if you can speak to those group of people, that's how you gain their attention. Here's another example. If you were just spending the day going up to girls and just saying, hey, what's your name? Can I have your number? Hey, what's your name? Can I have your number? Hey, what's your name? Can I have your number? What do you think they're going to feel like? They're going to feel like, hey, this guy knows nothing about me. He didn't ask anything about me. He's probably doing this with a bunch of girls, right? So I'm probably not going to give him my number. You always want to place yourself in the shoes of your ideal client to think of the way that they would react to certain situations and how their mindset is. Where do they go to hang out? Where do they congregate? What kind of problems do they have? See, that's all entrepreneurship is. Regardless if you're in music, if you're in another industry, that's all entrepreneurship is constantly solving problems. So the better you get at solving problems and the more resourceful that you become, where you can obtain information on your own, where you can seek certain things to get your answer and solve these problems, the more successful you'll become, because that's all it is, right? If you come to a bottleneck where you can't handle as much business as you're getting, you have to solve that problem by bringing in other people. If you're not getting enough lead flow, enough people interested in your product, you have to figure that out and you have to solve that problem. If you're not selling and you're not closing on your deals, you have to fix that problem. Everything is solving problems, including what you do for your client. Your delivery to your client is solving their problem. If they have trouble with music production because they're not producers and they're artists and they can't find beats and they need someone to make beats for them, your solution to their problem is creating the beats for them. So no matter what it is, regardless of what you do, everything in your business, everything in entrepreneurship and music is constantly solving problems as they come along. So again, this is a huge problem. This is a huge deal. And I guarantee you, if you get clarity on exactly who it is you're trying to go after, you're going to sell a lot more music. So I hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, share this with a friend. I guarantee you if you subscribe to this channel, you're gonna learn a lot more about music business and you're gonna go much further in your journey much quicker than if you just skip over this video and if you just continue moving on. I guarantee you. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And if you're looking to make a career out of your music production, I have a free training. It talks about producing beats that attract artists and turning those artists into high-paying clients. And this is very important because a lot of times, like we try to sell beats to artists, it's like $30, $50 here. It's hard to live that way. So I teach you how to command higher prices and be in a premium market. So if you want to watch that training, I'm going to leave that down in the description. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit that notification button, do all those YouTube things, and I will see you in the next video.